D.S. Palmer from LexMalaBooks.com, LibertyWeekly.com, author of St. Bart's High, or How I Had a Love for the Classes Beat Into Me. Talking about something that was found on the DailyPaul.com, where they picked it up was the NaturalNews.com. Article describing how 63 sites in 20 states are launching unmanned drones, just as has been used over in Central Asia, Afghanistan, and Pakistan in particular. This article quotes Judge Andrew Napolitano saying that the reason why we are using these now locally is to help police find missing persons or kidnap victims or to chase bad guys. Also describes how these guys are going to be snooping around, looking for you if you're going to be, if you got too much fertilizer, if that's for your roses, if you have too much Sudafed, if that's for your meth, or if that is, you're smoking in front of your kids or something like that. The one interesting thing that they don't really touch on is drugs. How anymore so much of what is expanding the police state at home is in fact the war on drugs. And that was the first place my mind went, as I live in a border state. In Arizona, I had actually lived on the Mexican border and saw how much the war on drugs drives almost all of the law enforcement down there. Speaking of on the Mexican border. Then you take that immediately over to how these drones have been affecting the populations in especially Pakistan, where we will get the news reports, I killed another Al-Qaeda operative. Of course, we had to take out a whole village to do so, but, we got that Al-Qaeda operative. Just think it's a matter of time, since we have 63 sites in 20 states launching these drones, that they're going to weaponize these things to try to better the war effort on drugs. When that happens, is it just a matter of time now that border states in particular are going to start having stories that are similar to the ones coming out of Pakistan? Yeah, we got a bunch of drugs, we killed a bunch of drug guys, good stuff. Unfortunately, took out 3 other houses full of innocent people while we were trying to do that. Does that ever happen? Well, it's already happening now. Go back a couple of years ago to Berwyn Heights, Maryland. You might remember this, where the police were tracking something that was rumored to be filled with more than 30 pounds of marijuana. Found it all the way, or followed all the way to Maryland to the mayor's house of this town, Berwyn Heights, where the sheriff's department then kicked down the door, shot 2 Labradors, one of which he said was running away from the cops, cuffs the mayor and his mother-in-law. But it turns out that they were not involved with this drug thing at all. Sorry for the trouble. We wish we could stick around and help you clean up your dead dogs and all that stuff. Don't even really apologize. Anybody who says that anybody, as I am trying to make the case right now, is going a little bit overboard worrying about these unmanned drones eventually taking out innocent people to prosecute the war on drugs just hasn't been paying attention to what's been happening already as we try to prosecute the war on drugs. And this is with real people alive and in these situations with these innocent people. All right. Much of what I've been describing can be seen metaphorically, of course, in my book, St. Bart's High, How I Had a Love for the Classes Beat Into Me, where you're going to see in this book, fictionally, of course, bad culture that is becoming more and more violent. So, of course, the first thing that the school is going to try to do is increase the security personnel. That's not going to do anything, because then once the security personnel begin to increase, the kids who want to fight, just like the people who want to do drugs, the people who want to sell drugs, are going to find a way to do it. In my book, they just go to the bathroom during class, right? If we start flying drones all over the place, the criminals that want to do and sell and take drugs and all that stuff, they're just going to have to get a little bit trickier about it. They're not going to be able to walk over mountains behind a setting sun and have them and their AK-47 get perfectly silhouetted, as was happening in the town I was living in on the Mexican border. They're just going to get a little bit better at it. All these drones are going to do is make it a little bit harder for people who are not doing anything wrong to, try to make sure that everybody knows that they're not doing anything wrong. I'm D.S. Palmer. LexMalaBooks.com, LibertyWeekly.com, St. Bart's High. Check them out. Hit the like button down there. Start subscribing, because we got all sorts of good stuff coming up. Thanks for tuning in.